It's coffee time. I had a pretty full day today. I wasn't expecting it to be as full as it was, but I ain't complaining. It was a very good day. Woke up and chit-chatted with my mom for a while. She and I, when we haven't seen each other in a while, and especially lately, we haven't been talking on the phone as much either. So basically when I got here, it's been she and I just doing this all the time, which is funny because in general, she's the only person that I tend to do that with, where I'll just bend her ear for an hour. Most of the time I'm more of a listener, which you guys might think is hilarious, but it's true. But whenever I'm with my mom, she's just like, tell me everything, and I'm like, okay. So I just word vomit. But anyway, so this morning we were just kind of chatting, and I made coffee, and then we decided to make a scramble for her, my dad, and I. So I was like, okay, I'll make a scramble. And we found a bunch of chopped up stuff, chopped up turkey ham and green onions and things, and my mom was like, oh, we could throw these into the scramble. And I was like, yeah, that sounds great. But then we wound up chopping up so much stuff. It was awesome, don't get me wrong. It tasted delicious. We chopped up so much stuff and threw them in there. One of the things being a bunch of leftover potatoes. And that's how I found out that there was leftover meatloaf. And I ate all of that. Once the podcast was over, I was like, I'm starving. It was 3:30? Yeah. I think we ended around 3:30. And I came out of the room, out of the office that I was doing the podcast from, and I was like, I'm so hungry. Looked in the fridge, remembered that the meatloaf was there. My mom kept insisting it would be bland. It wasn't. It was so good, but I love meatloaf. I know a lot of people that don't like meatloaf at all, and that blows my mind. How? Maybe some of you hate meatloaf. Maybe you could explain it to me. Because every time I've had a meatloaf, it's tasted completely different, unless it's the same person making it. Every meatloaf tastes so different, and there's been maybe 2 different meatloafs that I've really disliked. But overall, I really like meatloaf. It's just ground beef with a bunch of spices, maybe an egg and some ketchup. Squish, 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 oven. It's delicious! I don't see anything wrong with it! But anywho, so speaking of the podcast, oh my goodness. So we are on Woodland internet out here. And I gave everyone a heads up. I was like, just so you know, I am on silly internet, so I might get dropped off of this call. But hopefully not. And everything was going so smooth for a while there. And then suddenly it dropped me from the call. And I was like, dang it. But I got back in really easily. And that happened, I think, 3 times. There was one time when I couldn't reconnect at all. So I had to log out of Skype, log back in, and then recall them. But the most hilarious one to me, I don't think anybody else even knew it was happening, but the most hilarious one to me was I was talking, but looking at a different page, the browser page, not at Skype, and didn't even realize that the call had dropped me. I had no idea. So I'm just sitting there talking, reading something off of the browser window. I'm like, ba 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 ba. Silence, which happens often, where I'll say something and then nobody will have anything to contribute, and I'm like, okay. But then the silence continued. It's I feel like perhaps this is not the way this is supposed to go. So then I click back to Skype, and the call has dropped, and I've been dropped off of the call for the entirety of the time that I was talking. It's no! So that was kind of hilarious on my end. But overall, the podcast went good. We had Blame the Controller on there. And there were moments in the podcast where I was horrified and wished that the call would drop me, but it just wouldn't. Because Blame the Controller does specifically lots of Minecraft map stuff. And TB went on a huge rant about how Minecon is dumb and stupid in all ways. I was just like, I did this. Okay, no, I did this multiple times, and there was one time that I actually trapped myself. So I kept, doing this, and then going like this, and then tying it. And I'm not going to tie it this time because There was one time that I tied it, and then the knot was so small that I was like sitting there and going like this forever, trying desperately to untie it, and I couldn't. And I was like, how do I get out? What if I have to cut this off of me? This is gonna be so depressing. And I finally did it, and like ripped it off of my face. I was so happy. But yeah, don't do the Kenny just to make a point. And especially if you do the Kenny and it works out the first time, where you do it for a laugh and then you like untie it and come back out and it's fine. Don't do it again, because you will get trapped. You will absolutely get trapped there and need assistance. I felt like I was in Kill Bill, like I had been buried alive and I needed to do the punch over and over again, where you're like, oh, that's not going to work. And then eventually it does, and you feel so great. But yeah, so did the podcast, and that was a janky magical thing. And then filmed news, talked about Black Friday and Cyber Monday stuff. We don't know a whole lot of Cyber Monday stuff yet because everybody's really focused on Black Friday, but if you're interested in that, feel free to go to youtube.com/presshard to continue. And I will edit that and put that up whenever the internet decides it wants it. And yeah, I'm trying to think. What else? Thanksgiving is tomorrow, so I'm going to see my whole family. I'm really sad because I'm trying to make, I'm trying to think, I have a lot of family members that watch this show. Maybe I shouldn't say anything. Yeah, I won't say anything. Now what? You know what? I'll tell you about it tomorrow. How does that sound? Those of you who aren't in my family, and you're like, what? Why can't we find out? I'll tell you tomorrow. Especially if it all works out, I'll tell you tomorrow. I'll be like, guess what, guys? I was so nervous about this thing, but then it all worked out. Or I'll say, guess what, guys? I was so nervous about this thing for good reason. So we'll see which one it winds up being. I keep hearing phantom cats because I'm so used to having Sherlock cat. So, like, all night last night, I kept thinking I was hearing a cat, like, around my room, or I keep hearing meows. There's nothing meowing. And it's the weirdest thing. And then I have, like, it's weird because it's a cycle. Like, I'll think I hear something, and then I'll remind myself, there's no cat here. And then I'll go, wait, but then where's the cat? It's so strange. It's the weirdest, like, split-second reaction. The cat is crawling in Rose's drawers. That's all I know. Apparently, she has this, like, drawer setup thing. And if she leaves those drawers open for too long, he will crawl inside. Without fail. And last night she actually sent me a video of him in one of her drawers, and it was so funny. I was like, oh, kitty. So cute. I love him. I don't know if you know, but I really like my cat. I think he's, like, pretty adorable and stuff, so. But yeah, other than that, just kind of helping my mom get ready for Thanksgiving, kind of helping to prep all the food and whatnot. Yeah. And that's about it. That's about what is going on with me. Is that apple juice? Heck yeah, it is. My parents always have a lot of juice in the house, so I always try to drink a lot of juice while I'm here. Because, for whatever reason, when I'm home, like in LA, I will buy juice, and then I'll drink all of it in, like, 2 days, or maybe even a day sometimes. And then I'll forget to buy juice for, like, a month or 2 months. And then I'll go, oh, I really want some juice. No. At this house, there is always at least, like, 3 kinds of juice in the fridge. So I get here and I'm like, yeah, apple juice. Yeah. And I drink so much apple juice while I'm here. Worth it! I'm just gonna finish this off. Delicious. Don't it off with coffee so that it's a proper coffee time. Cool. Good. But yeah, that's been my day. So I hope that you guys had a good day, and I will talk to you again tomorrow. Bye-bye. Mwah!